Hello mga ka-Buttercup! If you are new to our channel, please like and subscribe. Enjoy the rest of the video!
Hello everyone! So now we are talking about nematoda or roundworms. So one example of the nematodes or roundworms is the Ecdysozoa. Ecdysozoa is a group of protostome animals. The group is also supported by morphological characters and includes all animals that bear the ecdysis, maintaining their exoskeleton. So the larger group that nematodes fit within is called Bisozoa. Bisozoa is a classification of organisms that undergo a process called ecdysis. So ecdysis is typical outer layer that is shed to facilitate growth. The nematodes or roundworms constitute the phylum Nematodes, with plant parasitic nematodes also known as eelworms. They are a diverse animal phylum inhabiting a broad range of environments. So let's proceed to characteristics. So nematodes are really ubiquitous, like they're everywhere. They are in plants and animals. They are in warm areas, cold areas, even in the Arctic, even in the deep sea like nematodes are everywhere and very diverse group of organisms. So next is pseudoceramids, which means that they have a xylem, but their xylem is in only lined by mesodermal tissue in one side of their cilium. And this cilium helps to make their hydrostatic skeleton, which is similar to what we talked about, a hydrostatic skeleton in annelids. But the way that they use this skeleton for locomotion is very different from what we see in our lids. Next is the cylinder shape. So the roundworms are cylindrical in shape, hence roundworms, and they are euphilic. So that means that all the adults of a particular group, so but the particular species have defined number of cells, somatic cells as adults. So you don't see one adult of one species. Next is roundworms is Laxilia and Flagella. So roundworms, Laxilia, and flagella, and this includes their sperm. And we'll talk about what they do as far as sperm go later in this section because they don't have flagella. They have cuticle, as I mentioned before, because they are adaptogone, so they have a cuticle, and but their cuticle is primarily composed of kanang gitawag nila og collagen. And they undergo egg digest, so they shed that cuticle whenever necessary. So they can grow and develop cuticle tungod kay kanang ang collagen is made of kanang tungod kay it is made of collagen, and the way that the structure of the collagen overlaps, kanang it allows them to be have a very elastic movement in their moving. But this collagen cuticle also protects them from drying out. It also protects them from their host gut juices, the digestive juices. It protects them from any type of danger. So it serves two functions: protection and also elasticity. The nematodes have an epidermal layer called the hypodermis, and it is a sensational epidermis that produces the cuticle. So, daghan pa og characteristic ang roundworms, and to continue the discussion of the characteristics, may I have Chief Cabanas to
Hello everyone, I'm Chief Costa Cabanas and I'm going to discuss the other half characteristics of our nematodes or roundworms. So, our nematodes have calcium or hydrostatic skeleton in them, which allows the worm to maintain its shape against forces. They also have a complete digestive tract. The mouth, pharynx, intestines, and anus. They also have gland cells and tunnel system for excretion. They don't have organs specifically for other functions, such as respiratory organs, and their way of respiration is through their skin. So, they are only composed of few internal organs. Next is that they have different mechanisms in getting their energy they need depending on what condition they are in. It can either be anaerobic or aerobic metabolism. Our roundworms are longitudinal muscles in body wall. They have longitudinal muscles in their body wall. They have muscles from their anterior up until to their posterior end. And wala sila muscles or they don't have any muscles that surrounds their circumference. And so in that way, it can make huge impact on the way they move. Roundworms are also free-living or parasitic organisms. Free-living is because they can live on freshwater habitats or other environment, and parasitic because they host on humans, animals, and plants. They are also called as carnivorous is because they get their food through eating other organisms. Saprotrophic is it because they eat dead or decaying matter. And lastly, coprogamy is because they feed on pieces or dung on other organisms. So those are the following characteristics of our nematodes or roundworms.
Hi, good day. I am Adeline May Parantar and I am from Group 3. And I will be the one discussing about the nematode's body system. So first, I will be discussing its body form. Excuse me. Nematodes, more commonly known as roundworms, have three basic body characteristics. First is unsegmented. It means not divided into segments. Bilaterally symmetric, or the body is identical on each side. Triploblastic, it consists of three primary germ layers, the ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So here is the white of the roundworm. So this pink one is its pharynx, and the green one is the nerve ganglion, and Candidata is the its cuticle, and this one here is the ventral nerve. The Mabaw is the dorsal nerve, and this one, this black black or green tube is the excretory tube, and this one is pseudocolium, and the brown one is its intestine, and tapos sa intestine is its testes. Then sumpay sa intestine is ang anus. Excuse me. So the roundworm support system. So the roundworm, they absorb oxygen through their skin. It's process known as diffusion. So in diffusion, the oxygen passes over the germ layers from an area of high concentration to low. And nematodes control movement through hydrostatic skeletal system, or a fluid-filled cavity that is surrounded by muscles, and that fluid and surrounding muscles produce the movement. And nematodes are commonly called a tube within a tube. The next is the roundworm's digestive system. And yes, they have a digestive system. Roundworms are also characterized by a complete digestive system. Food processing occurs within the alimentary canal running lengthwise through the body. The digestive system can be divided into three parts: the stomodium, the intestine, and lastly, the proctodium. The stomodium consists of the mouth and lips, vocal cavity, and the pharynx, while the intestine functions by digesting, absorbing water and nutrients, and eliminating the residues of digestions, while the proctodium serves as the anus and where the waste is excreted. Next is the nematode's nervous system. The nematode the nematode nervous system consists of a set of neuronal processes that run lengthwise on the nematode's body. These processes consist of neurons that have a neurocyte, and a group of neurocyte is called a ganglion. Itong ipakita na ko ganina. And this ganglion connect to the nerve ring which surrounds the esophagus. And about the roundworms reproduction methods, males are smaller than females, and they also have a bent until tail for holding the female for copulation. And during copulation, spicules are inserted into the genital pore of the female, enabling a moboid sperm to crawl along the specule. And eggs may be embryonated or unembryonated, or meaning that they may not yet be developed. Next is defense mechanism. The cuticle is the flexible outer covering which acts as an exoskeleton, allowing the nematode to maintain internal stability. It is formed by secretion of the hypodermis, and the hypodermis is a thin cellular layer underlying the cuticle, and the cuticle functions as a barrier, so it provides as a protection, a sensory array, and as a sensory array it detects the changes, and as a hydrostatic skeleton it acts as an antagonist to longitudinal muscles. And by the way, roundworms are free living species. By free living species, they have a wide range of food they consume, such as living tissues, small animals, dead organisms, fungi, algae, and fecal matter. And marine nematodes have a larger role in adec- and marine nematodes have a large role in a decomposition and recycling. As a result of this, they tend to be extremely sensitive to pollution, which drastically changes their environment. Next and lastly, parasitic species. We all know that roundworms are parasitic species. So it means that they can live off a wide variety of living organisms from plants to insects to humans. They often lead very complicated lives in which they must transfer from different host species. An approximate example of this complicated lifestyle resides with the fig wasps along the Panama Canal. Nematodes lays their egg within the figs and hatch once the female wasps also emerge. Then the nematodes penetrate the body cavity of the female wasp and slowly consume her from the inside once outside. And when the female fig wasp lands on a newly developing fig, the wasp dies and the life cycle for the nematode begins anew.
Under the forms and function is first the locomotion. In roundworms, locomotion is different than what we saw in annelids. It's because roundworms has only longitudinal body wall system that runs from anterior to posterior region. Yeah, does have four muscles that runs in circumference. Para ani nga picture. In this diagram, muscle cells lie in body wall. They have four bands, kani one, two, three, four, and five. They have four bands of muscles that fibers run in their length. So, mo na siyang section. Section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. Nya, each has two types of muscle cells. The spindle or the spindle is used for movement. That is place duol ani. Kani siya nga gagmay. Mo ni siya ang gitawag nga spindle. Closer siya sa body wall. Then it is responsible for locomotion. So tanan nga ang pag-move niya sa kanang organism from one place to another place kay spindle ang responsible. So ang next nga muscle cells kay ang cell body where glycogen is stored. So mo ni siya ang mo ni siya ang cell body. Nya, ang cell body kay it houses the nucleus. Nya, all cells in roundworms are connected to the nerve cell. So it is unique because when we talk about the connection between nerve, tissue, and muscles, it's the opposite way around. The nerve tissue connects the muscle, it stimulates then, and in the case of roundworms, it's reverse. Muscle extend and attach themselves to the nerve cord. So when we're talking about movement, in roundworms, cuticle plays an important role because it antagonizes the longitudinal muscle fibers. This only one type of muscle. So when it extend, ma-extend. Okay, how do we get the organism to return into their place? Like nga na-return na siya. Ani nga picture. So, ma-extend, ma so when we do it using the cuticle, which is made of collagen, kay if made siya of collagen, it is sturdy, but it is elastic. So when the roundworm is ready to move, kani siya, muscles niya, another muscles, it construct the longitudinal muscles on one side, mo na siyang other side, so of its body, and this construction of muscles will cause autom- the cuticle on opposite side to kind of stretch apart. If ma-stretch na siya, kay the muscles will then contract ari nga side. Then the cuticle will compact and the cuticle of the opposite side will elongated, and once muscles are released, kanina siya sa pikas nga basically mas snaps na siya into sa original niya nga place.
So, another way that we can look at different categories of nematodes or roundworms is through how they undergo nutrient acquisition. Roundworms have two digestive system, which means food flows in one direction. It starts with the mouth, the pharynx, the intestine or the gut, then mulaos na siya sa anus. So, ang process sa iyang digestion is the food enters the mouth. So, if ang food gani kinana na siya sa mouth is the starting point of the digestive system. So, muna na siya ang sign nga nagsugod na ang digestion. Then the food itself is consumed when surrounding molecules or the pharyngeal muscles contracts, creating a vacuum-like section. Once food is in the mouth, it moves down to the pharynx, right here, or the throat, where food is crushed down before it continues in a long gut or the intestine. And of course, after that, it will be eliminated in the anus. So, kung ano siya? One direction. Food moved through the digestive tract via muscles contraction from movement and compaction. So, na siya mga specialized structures, stellate and phytoparasite the plant cells, like jaws, plates, or hooks to attach or penetrate host tissues. Like, kani mga gamito ni sila kay kasagaran baya ang mga roundworms kay they suck like ilang suyupon. So mao ni sila ang kaning mga specialized structures niya ka mao ni ang magamit para makasak sila sa ilang host. And roundworms usually eat algae, bacteria, protozoa, and fungi zone, and some are filter feeders eating waste of other creatures. So sa diha pa lang silang gipangkaon daan makakuha na ta nga ang roundworms kay hugaw jud siya og makahatag og sakit, di ba, kay ang iyang panganon kay mga bacteria which is harmful to us humans. And the next is reproduction. So how does roundworms reproduce? Just like as humans, ang roundworms kay most dioecious, or they have two separate sexes, and which means sperm and eggs are produced by separate male and female adults. Then they undergo internal fertilization, which fertilization takes place inside a female organism. Then, amoid sperm ang naa nila, which means walay flagella. 'Di ba kay ang roundworms kay kuan man siya, wala man siya flagella. So ang ilang sperm sad kay wa say flagella. Then spicule to help with sperm deposition. Ang spicule kay help with sperm deposition. So, intact of sperm moving towards the egg, wing flagella as we like humans, the roundworms kay ila kay pseudopodia process basically crawl towards the egg, instead both the spicule and unborn sperm. And direct development of the free-living nematodes kay ang maturization nila kay through molting or shedding. All adults have same number of cells. After maturity, growth is via cell enlargement, which means nga they don't increase in cell number as they grow. Instead, the cell will become bigger. No matter og unsay size sa roundworms, madako siya magamay, pareha ra siyag cell number. Kalayan lang sa dagko kay mas dagko ang ilahang cell, pero pareha ra sila og number of cells. So, roundworms reproduce sexually. Sperm and eggs are produced by separate male and female adults, and fertilization takes place inside the female organism. And females lay number of eggs sometimes as many as 100,000 per day. So basically dali ra jud kay sila mo multiply.
So the last part of our report is the diversification. So there are many kinds of nematode or roundworms, but I will be only tackling about those very few that are very dangerous to humans. First off is the Ascaris lumbricoides. The Ascaris lumbricoides is thought to be infect to be infected at least 1 billion of humans. And they are very large worms in comparison to the vast majority of nematodes, which are mostly microscopic. So, mo ni siya ang picture niya. Dako, gi-consider na ni siya nga dako compare sa lain nga type sa roundworms. Nya, you can kanang makuha nini mo siya nga infection if sa mga contaminated nga produce or soil. So, if mamalit mo og fruits or vegetables, it is very important to always wash it first. So, dili ra tungod kay naan ma-infected mo ani nga worms, but ang anak pud kana pud siya kay napud na siya daghan nga fungi and bacteria. Nya some symptoms of any disease ay any infection is abdominal pain, allergic reactions, and intestine damage. Kani siya enough na nga intestine ang nasulod enough na nga worms ang nasulod sa intestine ani. Kani siya nga intestine kay intestine ni siya sa baboy, sa pig nya. Kay daghan naman kay ang nga worms ang nasa sulod niya, so na na-block na yung intestine. So in some cases it can cause death. Pero kanang rare ra kaayo ni siya nga case. So some jud ani niya kay maka-experience lang og severe pain or discomfort. Nya, so ang life cycle niya kay mag-start sa adults nga nagpuyo sa small intestine sa iyang host. Then dira ma-release ang iyang egg, and along with the feces of the person into soil or wherever a person defecates. So for example sa woods. So in the soil the eggs are located. Then, ang kana siya nga mga juveniles kay dira na ma-develop ang egg, then juveniles will hatch and juveniles will leave the egg and then they will burrow to your intestine. So, after sa imong intestine kay makurig na siya sa blood padung sa imuhang lymph, padung sa imong heart, then mo migrate sa imong lung trachea. Mo nang some pod people nga infected ani nga disease kay naay pneumonia. Nya from lung trachea kay mopunta siya sa pharynx, then igabot sa pharynx kay mas swallowed na pud siya, nya mapunta na pud sa gut, nya moadto na pud sa intestine where ang development kay makumpleto, and mo na siya ang whole nga process or ang iyahang cycle. Nya sometimes kay it can migrate to the other parts of our body and perforations and in the intestinal lining. So sa most part should wa siya sa lain nga body, na siya sa intestine. Nya if your situation is bad enough, mo na siya nga maka-travel na siya sa lain nga part sa imong body, nya maka-cause og severe nga issue. Again, mo ni siya ang Ascaris lumbricoides. Nya mo ni siya ang example nga iyang na-block ang stomach sa pig. So, next kay ang Nectar americanus or gitawag nga hookworms. So, sa makita na to nga example dire, ang iyahang anterior kay nag-curve. Nya mura siya gitawag og hookworms. So mao ni siya kanang na siya oral plates nga maoy giuse para mag-cut sa host intestinal tissue para makasak sila sa blood nya. Ang naka problema lang jud niya kay in musak siya og blood dili ra enough para niya, but ma kanang more pa nya. They need only halfway metabolize the blood that you consume. So if mahutdan kag dugo, this can lead to anemia, lethargy, mental and physical development issues in children. So sa life cycle niya, kay katong kaniha kay nag-start tas as adult. So diri kay mag-start ta as eggs. So eggs are removed via the feces. So someone goes and defecates in the woods. Then ang pareha pud kaniha ang eggs kay mapunta sa soil nya. Ang juvenile will develop and they'll leave the eggs, and they will live in soil consuming bacteria for an extended period of time. So for example, naay tawo nga maadto sa wood nya. Dili sila magchinilas or di sila magchinilas o wa sila proper nga footwear. So if malapukan na ilang tiil nya, ang kana siya nga lapo kay contaminated ani nga worms. So mao na siya nga makita na ang worms og new nga host niya. So sa new host niya kay mo travel siya through the bloodstream nya, padung na pud sa lungs nya. Same ra pud ganiha, padung sa lungs nya, maato sa pharynx or trachea nya, maswallowed balik sa gut nya, maato na pud sa intestine nya. Same pud kaniha dira sa intestine kay dira na sila ma-mature and dira sila mamuyo for the rest of their lives nya, drinking all your blood nya. Ma-release pud sila og eggs nya, ma-continue ang cycle. And next niya kay ang Trachinella spiralis. Sa Trachinella spiralis kay mo ni siya ang one of the most dangerous nga parasites. Kay makakause ni siya og trichinosis disease. Kani oops. And can be potentially lethal in humans. Trichinella spirosis has a wide range of hosts. So pwede siya sa tao, pwede siya sa dogs or sa cats niya. They are all viable hosts. So sa iyahang life cycle kay mag-start siya as adult. So basically take up residence in mucosa of the small intestine of their host, and this where they'll also give birth to young, and those live young then ilubong siya sa host tissue para makaadto sa bloodstream. Og naano siya sa bloodstream kay basically mas transport na siya sa bisig asa sa atong body and maka-establish og daghan niya issues. So maka-end up siya nga maabot na sa skeletal muscle niya, og na siya sa skeletal muscle kay ibori na pud niya iyang kaugalingon sa atong muscle cells niya. Dira sa atong muscle cells kay dira na ang juveniles kay ma-change sa iyang function niya. Striated muscle cell will then be changed into essentially a nerve cell that will facilitate the development of this parasite. And this can result in gene expression. So basically, it hang out there growing, living until some other host eats the contaminated muscles of infected individuals. So, for example, kanang at ang sulat ninyo kay baboy nya, ang kana siya nga baboy kay wala kay siya naluto. So kung kay wala man kay siya naluto, undercook or mas delikado if raw. So if kana nga muscle cells sa baboy kay kay kuan na kanang contaminated nya imong gikaon dakog potential nga manaa nimo ang disease or ang kani siya nga infection. So, if makaon na nimo, matravel siya sa imong intestine, nya mabori sa imong intestinal wall, nya makontinue na ang cycle. So, if mangaon mo, it is advisable nga lutuon jud ang inyong pagkaon. So, it is ang next niya kay ang enterobius or vermicularis or ang pinworm. So, very common ni siya sa US, niya infected 30% of children and 16% of adults. So, kasagaran niya kay dili na to mailhan kay ang uban asymptomatic niya mo to ang uban pod kay naray gamay nga symptoms like itching. So kasagaran sa tawo kay wala naka-realize nga naa sila aning infection until nga ay to the point nga mapasa na siya sa iyang mga friends or families or any person nga naa sa iyang surroundings. So too late na. So ang life cycle niya kay mag-start sa as adult sa kasagaran man no kay small intestine pero kani siya kay sa large intestine. Sa large intestine in the cecum. And the female, once they're ready to deposit their eggs, will travel out of the human's body at night. Nya, dira malay ang eggs sa skin around sa anus. Nya, if na siya sa anus, mo na siya nga mag-cause siya og itching. Nya, if ma-itch na siya kay naay tendency nga scratch na nato nga area nya mao na siya ang eggs nga naa sa anus kay mapunta sa fingernails nya or imo mabutang sa fingernails. So it is not advisable nga magsige ta og shake hands or ang kamot kay igunit sa face or anything nga kanang makahikap sa lain nga tawo. And also kanang ang uban niya kay mapunta ang egg sa clothes. So kung manghulam ka og lain nga clothes kay naay tendency nga imo siyang mapasahan sa pinworm. Nya. So mo na siya advisable to always wash your hands. So once nga ma-transmit na ang egg sa lain nga person kay tungod kay wala siya nag-wash sa iyang hands kay mo na siya makakonsume sa eggs nya mo to ang eggs kay ma-hatch sa duodenum and dira ma-mature sa large intestine. The infections of pinworms are detected using something called Scotch tape. So if feeling nimo naa na kaani nga infection, need ka mo adto sa doctor. If na ka sa doctor kay mo perform na sila sa Scotch tape test. Ang kana siyang Scotch tape test kay mukuha siya small amount sa Scotch tape nya mo to ipilit sa imong anus nya after ana kailang ibutang sa microscope kay dira makit-an kani siya kani nga mga eggs makit-an siya sa microscope nga naa sa Scotch tape. So nya matreat Japon siya sa mga modern medicine. So kinanglan lang nga makatch nimo siya earlier before nimo makalat sa daghan nga tawo. Asan ako? So, ang last kay ang filarial worms. So, ani siya nga filarial worms kay ang main species kay it infect humans nya mo to ang iyahang say tawagan na kanang symptoms kay inflammation, obstruction of lymphatic system, elephantiasis, river blindness, heartworm. Example pa niya ay symptoms kay elephantiasis, excessive connective tissue growth and swelling. Nagpuyo siya sa lymphatic system. Sa iyahang cycle kay wala siya sa mga intestine. So live young kay ma-release siya sa blood nya mo to magpadung na pod sa lymphatic system nya kasagaran niya kay naa sa mosquito or fly nga adult nya dira na i-ingest sa mga young nya so ang mga young ma-develop sa mosquito nya moto if ma-transfer ni siya sa humans or ma-infecta nga humans if ever mapakantag mosquito or fly. So mo na siya ang example since kana excessive growth na siya kay mo na siya mga worms nga naa niya nya mo to mo grow siya mo na siya mahitabo ma-enlarge. And thank you for listening. That's all.